Steve, you've announced the release of 5 players this morning. I guess it's never an easy decision for any football manager. Can you just give us an insight into your thought process behind these decisions?
Yeah, you're right. It's one of the worst parts of the job. But you know, in all the different cases, you know, they've all been great since I came here. They've given me everything. They've trained well. We've had chats near the end of the season, and they understand the situation. I'm looking to go in a slightly different direction next year. So as I say, we've took the time to do it, which I think is only right. And I know it causes a bit of a stir when people come and announce things before we do, but that's nothing to do with the club. It's nothing to do with bad communication or anything that people are trying to sort of finger point at us. It's purely to do with me, the manager, wanting to take as long as I can, because I've been here less than half a season, to make my mind up about people, and obviously want to speak to all the players individually first before it's released. So that's why it's taking a little bit longer. But as I say, we've had good relationships with everybody. That even the ones that have been released. I had a good long chat with Parky yesterday about where he wants to go beyond this season. I know he's going to have a little minor knee surgery in the summer, which the club are helping him with. And as I say, it's not a nice part of the season for me, and it's probably one of the worst jobs a manager has got. But it's necessary for us to move forward, I think.
I understand Daniel Parslow is also leaving the club.
Yeah, I had a good chat with Pars yesterday. It's another situation where Pars decided to make it public that he decided to leave the club. I think that's important. He decided to leave the club. Obviously, I saw very little of him in competitive games, and unfortunately for Pars, mainly for Pars, because it's obviously been a very, very bad injury, and it's probably been very, very stressful for him and his family. But mainly for Pars, I haven't saw that a great deal of him in competitive football. So the invite was there to come back pre-season, and we'll have a look at him, see where he's at, if he wants to kick on again football-wise, and he may well still do that. I don't know, but as I say, I think Pars has made his decision.
What was the latest on his injury as the season came to a close?
The latest was that he still was nowhere near being able to do competitive training, nowhere near being able to make contact. Vision and everything was still not where it should be. So as I said, it's for Pars, in my opinion, it's more about getting himself right for himself and the family, and then deciding on whether he wants to go again football wise. I'm sure certainly physically, if you look at him and the way he trained when I had him, I don't think there's any reason why if he gets the green light why he can't go and play again next season.
You've offered contracts to 5 players. How confident are you that these players will agree to stay?
Well, obviously I want them to stay. That's the reason they've been offered. But certainly with the case of sort of Scott Burgess, he's a player that has only been here on loan. I'm pretty sure, in fact, I'm positive he's enjoyed himself. He's got on very well with the lads. He's in Sean Newton in particular, and he's got the energy, and he's improved the way that the whole midfield 3 have really, which is again, after having a long chat with Paddy when Paddy signed, talking about the midfield and talking about how much Paddy enjoys playing with Moke, how Moke's different to a lot of midfielders in the club, and the fact that his energy levels and the fact that he can break play up as well as he does is very important. Ryan, played the last 5 games as we promised he would, and certainly the last couple was outstanding. It should have been really 2 clean sheets at the end, apart from a free kick. That was a very, very good free kick that not many goalkeepers would have got to. So obviously Ryan being another one. Macaulay's been offered a deal. Again, he came back, and the work that he did at Bradford in the loan worked in our favour, and he came back and just missed out last game of the season with a hamstring injury. And in a spell where I was constantly chopping and changing the right side of centre half, I tried Hamza there, I tried Tatey there. When I first came, Josh and Jasper came in. I just thought the 3 games that Joe played, Guiseley, Bradford, and the last game of the season, was probably the most consistent I've saw in that position. He's very good round the place. The lads love him. He's a good talker, and then at this level, I think there's not many real leaders and talkers out there, and I think that's what's probably made me and Mickey have a chat and think that Joe's certainly somebody that would like to keep in and around it next season as well.
It's a real interesting one is the Joe Tate case, because, as you say, he seemed to be out of your plans, but did he come back with a point to prove in the final weeks of the season?
Just in that spell where we were where we sort of lost a little bit of momentum, where we were drawing games, and he showed a real sort of calmness on the ball in training, and he showed a real sort of aggression in the other side of it. And as I say, when he came in, and you know, people have to allow me to make my opinions on people. You know, everybody in football, fans, everybody around the club, players, always going to have opinions on people. But as a manager, you have to allow me to make my opinion. And as I say, that as the season went on and drew to a close, me and Mickey had both decided that we'd saw enough from Joe to think that we could improve him again next season, and it'd be a very good option for us.
You mentioned that Adriano Moke has also been offered a new deal. What impresses you about Adriano as a player and a person?
He loves the club. He loves training every day. His energy levels are higher than anybody's. The things that Adriano needs to improve on are all stuff that we can improve on with him. You know, sometimes they've been more positive with the ball. Sometimes believing in himself a bit more, because Moke actively came out not so long ago when we had the Mind Charity Day that you know, he'd suffered himself with a little bit of mental health issues, with confidence, with belief, but got to know him. He's a great lad. The lads love him, and I think when I'm trying to build not just a great team, I'm trying to build a really good dressing room. That goes a long way, and that's maybe the parts that people don't see on a day-to-day basis, how people train, how they are around the place. He's immensely popular, and at this level, National League North, I don't think you'll find anybody with as much energy, maybe experience, if we can get him firing the way I know I can.
The goalkeeping situation is obviously a priority for you this summer, with both goalkeepers out of contract. Where are you at in terms of the negotiations there?
Well, we're negotiating. Me and Mickey are going to go and have a chat with Bart. We've had one or two words with him, but I think the situation where Ryan's came through and did so well, I think Ryan's, I'm not going to say Ryan's going to be our number one goalkeeper next season. He has to earn that right pre-season, but he certainly put himself in pole position. And then it's a discussion really with Bart and maybe one or two other goalkeepers which way we go. But a lot of it probably depends on Ryan putting pen to paper, which he hasn't done yet.
You've not mentioned Simon Heslop yet. He obviously finished the season with a knee injury. What's his situation?
Well, Simon's contract will run out before pre-season, and like Dan Parslow, I was in a situation where I hadn't saw enough of him, so it was impossible to make a decision on him. But trying to be fair to both, the best thing we could do is invite them both back to pre-season and see where we go from there. You know, I started pre-season with Gateshead last season, probably with only 5 signed players. So the players that came in and done pre-season with us impressed us enough to give them contracts, and that's the situation. Probably going to be the situation for Hezzy, and if Pars decides to. But as I say, that's perfectly doable, and it's normal. Somebody that's had an injury for a manager that hasn't really saw a lot of them.
3 players who were on loan have now left the club. Bradbury, Murphy, Moon. Any chance of any of those coming back next season?
Never say never. I don't think Murph. I don't think Murph will be coming back. I think his injury took its toll badly on him. I don't know where Murph's going to go from there. I've been in contact with him as well. Had an honest chat with Tom Bradbury. Didn't quite work for Tom. I think what didn't help Tom is the fact that the left-sided centre-half position, once we went back to a back 4, when Sean Newton sort of kicked into gear the way he did, was almost impossible for anybody to get him out of the team. So that I explained that to Tom. That's been a big hindrance for him, but he'll have learnt a lot from it. I think he's enjoyed his spell down here. And Jasper's a really young lad, and that's really out of my hands, because I think he's part of Barnsley's plans. Obviously, Barnsley promotion to the next level, might put him a little bit further away from the first team, which might help us if we are going to go and make another move for Jasper. But they're things that all usually happen when you talk about loaning players. They're things that usually happen sort of back end of July, really.
So how many players are you looking to bring into the club this summer, and do you have a rough idea of the size of the squad you want?
Yeah, I think obviously within the budget, there's certainly going to be sort of 3, 4, 5 maybe come in straight away, and then obviously, you know, I've got players there on another year's contract who, you know, were offered contract long before I got here, who will start pre-season with the same chance as everybody else. But you know, we have to. It's football, and it's a ruthless game, and we have to pick a squad that is going to get us promoted, and that's the top and bottom of it. And as I say, everybody that comes in pre-season that's signed for us will have the same chance, and it's over to them really pre-season.
Anything likely to be happening in the next week or so?
I'm actively talking to 3 or 4 players today. I'm talking to another member of staff today. I'm talking to a couple of players before the end of the week. There's a couple on holiday. So, as I say, I'm not putting a time on it, but I would suggest you'd see a fair bit of movement within the next sort of 2 weeks. But as I say, as we stand now, what we've discussed is pretty much completely up to date.
And finally, I understand Jake Watson is going to be signing his first professional contract with the club. Just tell us a bit about Jake and his potential.
Yeah, highly thought of Jake. Saw him in a few games. Proper centre half. Good lad. Will definitely benefit from being full time. And as I say, looking forward to welcoming him in with the rest of the lads pre-season. And I think pre-season will be a really, really big time for him. I think you'll find it difficult because coming from that level to full time training with the first team every day, certainly with a pre-season. By the way, my pre-seasons aren't as bad as some, but it'll still be very tough.
And although he's called Watson, he's no relation, is he?
He isn't, not that I know of.